business is challenging anyway. And I think I find myself, I'm very good at multitasking. I know there's this joke, guys can't multitask and things, but I think it's one of my skills is I can multitask. I can flick between different businesses. I can flick between talking about one thing 1 minute and the next thing we're talking about something in another business. So I think it's definitely one of my natural talents is to be able to do that. I think it's just being aware of your thoughts throughout the day. I think the world's full of negative, whether it's on social media or, and a lot of people live on social media now. And I think we're just going to be so aware of the negativity around us. Obviously, negativity breeds more negativity. And, obviously we need positive mindsets.
Happy birthday to you. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the No Have Cakes podcast. My name is Jim Sabellico, and this is a Wednesday full-length version of the show. If you're new here, let me just give you a quick rundown as far as what that means. Every Wednesday, we have a full-length episode, which is where I will sit down with a guest. We'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the lessons that we've learned along the way, and really just talk about life. It's an open, honest, real, raw conversation meant to help inspire, educate, and lift up those around us. Other versions of this show, Saturdays, I have what's called a strategy sprinkle. It's a small, practical, tactical tip to help you level up in your personal and professional life. And Mondays, I have a Mindset Monday episode, which is a shorter episode just meant to give you a positive, powerful perspective to walk through the week with. So, being this full-length episode, we have a guest today. Our guest, Mr. Gareth Jones, is the president of the Foundation or Federation of Master Builders, a entrepreneur, someone with a lot of experience in leadership and inspiration. And Gareth, I'd love to welcome you to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. So if you would, give me a little bit of background about kind of who you are, family life, work life. Let's get to meet you.
Yeah, so I've been running my own businesses now for over 15 years. Been responsible for a lot of innovation within the sectors we work in. So I've been quite proud of some of the things we've invented and created and made some of the sectors we work in simpler and easier. So yeah, I've got a number of businesses who work in the renewable energy industry, mainly in solar. I've got a robotics business, and I've also got a leisure company that does spas, pools, and saunas, that sort of thing. So we've got quite a diverse range of things we do. I've got a 7-year-old daughter who's my world. Big fan of cars and that sort of thing. And I do think it's important to, I'm a big advocate for mental health and looking after yourself and making sure you take time out for yourself as a busy business owner. It's important.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure trying to manage all those different businesses and also, get to hang out with your daughter. I know 7. My daughter is actually also 7, and it's a very fun age where they start to have a lot of personality, and it's there's a lot going on. So I'm sure that's sort of a challenge. How do you handle all those businesses and still being present with your family?
It's difficult. So I'm in maybe slightly different situations for other people. So I don't live with my little one's mum, and so she lives full time with her mum. So I see my little one on weekends, and I speak to her every night, and we FaceTime and things like that. So, but it's challenging. Business is challenging anyway, and I think I find myself, I'm very good at multitasking. I know there's this joke that guys can't multitask and things. But I think it's one of my skills is I can multitask. I can flick between different businesses. I can flick between talking about one thing 1 minute and the next thing we're talking about something in another business. So I think it's definitely one of my sort of my natural talents is to be able to do that. But I think one of the key things is being able to switch off is important as well, because there is so many things going on all the time. It is being able to switch off, so you can have some downtime, so you have got some headspace, because I think it's just really important.
Yeah. So for you, like, what does a typical downtime look like for you to kind of recharge yourself to be able to show up in your business and in your family?
Yeah, so for me, I think I like to have I finish it. So I finish at 5 every night. So I've gone through the point of early days of sort of growing my business where you'd work 7 days a week, you'd do silly working hours. I've sort of gone through that stage in my business career. So I sort of do finish at sort of 5. I try and get to the gym, and then go home, make food and just chill. I end up doing some social media, a little bit of social media stuff at night, maybe some TikToks and things like that. But I do try and try and switch off in the evenings, and because that's one thing I find is just it's important for me. And then weekends again, I don't work weekends anymore. In the past, I have worked weekends, and I will if required. Some of our businesses are open 7 days a week, so you can't always escape it. But having my weekends off has been incredibly important to myself. And like I said, I'm big into my cars and just taking the car out and enjoying the open road. It's for me, it's part of my sort of downtime. But yeah, it is challenging, and I think it's always been hard for me to get that work-life balance. I think it's a big struggle. I don't know many business owners who actually do nail it.
Yeah, I often talk about the difference between work-life balance or work-life harmony. And I think like balance is such a hard thing because you're constantly going back and forth between the two. But the goal, at least from my perspective, has always been to develop a life where everything kind of meshes together seamlessly, where you can sort of have those businesses that you have the systems and processes in place to run, and that they're up and running smooth enough where you can have the freedom and flexibility to kind of spend some time with your family, or you want to go take a road trip, or you want to go do something, you can, because everything kind of works together in some synchronicity. So for me, yeah, it's always been the perspective of harmony instead of balance. I'm curious, being in charge of this group of master builders, can you tell me a little bit about that, and what does it mean for your leadership role there? What is the requirement that you have to do with them?
Yeah, so I've been involved with the Federation of Master Builders. So the Federation of Master Builders is one of the oldest organisations of its type in the UK. It's got around 8,000 members approximately. And being in the UK, we've obviously got the devolved nations. So obviously we're in Wales, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland. They're all sort of separate. So I'm recently elected the president of Wales. And in Wales, we've got around about 1,000 members. So my involvement with them is I chair the meetings. We have quarterly meetings. I have to chair the meetings, and in between, it's there is a whole organisation that goes on behind. So it's a president in title. So it's my role is to help with the sort of PR aspect. Different presidents have different sort of roles as in what they want to achieve from their time as president. So I'm in a 2-year presidency. So I was vice president for 2 years, and then I was elected president about 6 weeks ago. And it's not as onerous as it seems, in the fact that I'm here to spread the word, spread the positive news. The Federation of Master Builders is all about quality tradespeople, doing the right thing, making sure we're instilling the best we can be. All the members in the Federation of Master Builders have been vetted, so it gives consumers confidence that they're getting a builder who knows what they're doing and has got the credibility, has got the insurance, got the experience. But I think for me, it's been a really good, and it's something I'd really encourage other business owners to do, is get involved. I've always been the sort of person who likes to be involved in trying to shape an industry. So one of the other industries we work in is the spa industry. So I did up until recently, I sat on the board there for the British Irish Spa and Hot Tub Association. And again, it's because I wanted to get involved. I wanted to help shape the future of the industry. And I think it's great networking. It's great for building credibility within your business, especially if you're, at the early stages of your business. It's great to be involved. So I've been involved with the FMB for over 15 years at various different levels. And there is a national president, there's a president of Scotland, and it's just great to be involved. Like I said, it's really good credibility for our business, because I can't do bad work. I'm not it's not something we want to be doing. So it instills confidence in people who buy from my company that we're going to do a good job, because I'm the president of the Federation of Master Builders for Wales. So I can't have bad work. I need to do good work. So it gives people confidence that they're buying from a credible company and a credible business owner, that we've by having these sorts of credentials. So it's a great tool, I find, getting involved in organizations, definitely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of upside to that, both from helping to shape the industry, the accountability part, the credibility part. There's so many upsides. That's really good advice for anyone who has their own business to look for a way to contribute, again, for all those reasons. I'm curious, in your position there, there's obviously a lot of leadership involved. Are there opportunities where you need to speak to a member who maybe their work is sort of falling off and not meeting the standard?
That's done more through the operational teams. So as the president role, I'm more of like the face of the Wales part, if that makes sense. There's a whole host of team behind the FMB where they do certainly. It's not something I would do personally. If there's a member complaint, a complaint from a member of the public, then it's investigated by a member of the team, and they will look into it and discuss it. And they have a dispute resolution service for consumers. So if they do, so the FMB sit between the member and the consumer to make sure they can iron out any potential issues. But it's not something I get involved with. Obviously, as in my private business, as the managing director, CEO of my business, obviously, if we have any issues within any contractors we employ, obviously I would deal with them or get involved. If, again, I've got an operational team myself, we would obviously speak to those guys, and the same with anyone who works for me. I've got operational teams and they deal, but sometimes obviously I get involved on the severity. But I think when the business gets to a certain size, you have obviously different layers of management, and you as the business gets bigger, you have to rely on those teams of people to do their jobs as such, and that's why it's really important to have those really good people around you, because even though you can be the chief exec, managing director, president at the top of the chain, you need that good team of people around you when you get to a certain size, because you just can't do everything. You just literally can't do everything.
Yeah. So in your own company, then you have sort of staff below you that kind of helps to manage some of that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got we're not a huge company. It's between the three companies, we employ about 30 people. We've got some subcontractors and contractors who work with us regularly on certain aspects and things. But yeah, I've got a really good core senior management team who've some of them have been with me for over nearly 10 years, and you've got that trust, and that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. It's really important.
And how often do you say, like, when there is a problem that arises, whether it's with your own company or maybe you've seen from the Federation, when those problems arise, is it usually a people problem or a skill problem? And I guess to clarify the question a little bit, my thought here is most of the time people are capable of doing the work, but something comes up where maybe their family life is not good and it reflects in the quality of their output. How often do you see something like that happen?
It's pretty common, to be honest. I think, I think one of the most challenging parts of running a business or an organization it's people, and you can give people all the training in the world, but people are only humans. Obviously, they make mistakes and things like that, and And unfortunately, people have to be accountable as well. But I think it's more of a people thing, to be honest, rather than, it's more likely, I think, to be a people thing. And I think sometimes it's not because they want to do a bad job for you. I don't think it's that people necessarily want to. It just becomes, like you say, they've got other they've got other pressures going on in their lives. And I feel like, people are more stressed than ever. People suffering with mental health issues, which affects concentration. It affects all sorts of different things. And so I definitely think it's a people thing rather than a skills. And, because I think it's a managerial fall down. If you've got people doing work they're not skilled or trained to do, that's an operational management failure. I've always got this saying that you don't want to set people up for failure. It's like giving someone a task to do something with no training. You're setting that person up for failure, which is unfair. You're putting that person in a negative situation where they could hurt themselves or something. But we're setting that individual up for failure, which is something we're always keen to sort of recognize. Has that person got the skills, the training to do it? Are they going to deliver what we want, and it not just be a catastrophic failure?
Yeah. How, as a business owner / manager / father, how much of that do you see as applicable, the things that you have to work with on people and leadership and inspiration and motivation and discipline? How much of that do you see also being applicable in the home world, like lessons that you pass on to your daughter?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think it's really important because, I want my daughter to be someone who's ambitious, who, and it's okay if she's not a business owner. I just want her to be happy in the end. And my dad was a business owner, and I think I got the entrepreneurial bug from him. And I think that's just somehow how it goes. I think there's probably quite a massive trend in people following in their parents' footsteps. But yeah, for me, it's important to give her the core skills and give her values. I don't take her out on trips. We might eat out on a weekend every time I see her, but we don't go to theme parks every weekend. We don't go to do really expensive things every weekend. I think it's important to, keep her grounded a little bit, because, if otherwise she's going to expect that sort of thing's normal. And I didn't grow up doing that. So I think it's not to normalize whatever my sort of financial status is, not to normalize those sorts of things, and just going out for a walk or just going out, doing those sorts of on a bike ride is just as important in her development as going to do something that costs a lot of money every weekend.
Yeah, I think that quality time, can't be undervalued, and the lessons learned from just hanging around with dad, as opposed to, going on a big elaborate trip or vacation or something. I think it's all the little things that are caught, not taught. Watching the way that you might interact with somebody at the grocery store when you talk to them, and how you handle a conversation. So those little things, I think, make a much bigger difference than the things we think we're working really hard to instill.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's those small things, isn't it? This weekend we're going to a car show, and she's really excited because there's a fun fair there and things, and she's not really bothered about the cars. She's interested in the fun fair aspect, but she'll have a great time, and as long as the British weather stays good for us.
That's awesome. So I had a couple additional questions for you, if I could. Question number one: if you had one piece of advice to give to someone to help them have a slightly better day today, either a perspective or a mindset or strategy, what would that be?
I think it's just being aware of your thoughts throughout the day, because I think it's very, very, I think the world's full of negative, whether it's on social media or, and a lot of people live on social media now, and I think we're just going to be so aware the negativity around us, and obviously negativity breeds more negativity, and obviously we need positive mindsets. And I think that'd be the one bit of advice I'd give people, is just being aware of something you're doing that's negative. Something as simple as commenting on something negatively is a negative thought, and just inspiring more positivity within our lives, and just being aware of the negativity. And I'm just very much a big believer in the power of positivity, and waking up in the morning with a positive mindset, positive outlook on life, and being thankful for what you do have. I think it's very easy to be negative and think of all the things you haven't got, but think about all the things you do have, and have that positive mindset. That's one of the biggest things for me is positivity, and being grateful for what you do have. And I think for me, on my journey as a business owner is setting yourself goals, which is obviously really important in any task management, whether it's in a business career or in life, and then rewarding yourself on your journey. And I think it's a really important thing, and finding out what's important to you and rewarding yourself. And but yeah, definitely positivity. I think it's being aware of negative energy, negative people, negative situations, and putting yourself in positive ones, because that'll just breed more positivity.
It's a great bit of advice, and I have to ask, have you always been of that mindset where you sought to get rid of negativity and wanted to be positive and grateful, or was there sort of a defining moment that maybe you dealt with a little bit too much negativity and it shifted you to being more consciously positive?
I wouldn't say there's a defining moment as such. I think it's, I've suffered with some mental health challenges. I've had issues with anxiety, which has been caused typically from stress, and that's one reason why I'm very. To me, it's important to have my downtime because of part of my stress management tactics, if you want to call it. So with my work around managing my anxiety and things like that, I've done an awful lot of work around being happy and positive at all times, and being thankful, and being positive, because I think it's that mindset. It's such an important part of your mental health, I think. And but I think certainly it's about being around managing my personal journey, and like I said, it's mainly been stress. I've always thrived off stress, because I think stress to a point drives us, but it's when you get too much stress is where it can start causing health issues, anxiety, mental health problems. And it's then how you as an individual choose to deal with it. And some people deal with it through medication, some people deal with it through mindfulness, some people deal with it in different ways. But I chose through mindfulness, and I didn't want to go on any sorts of medication for anxiety, that sort of thing. I just knew I can beat this. I've got a strong mind with the right course of action and the right thinking and the right outlooks. I can do this without any sort of medication, which isn't as simple for some people. I appreciate that, but it was something I was really wanted to do, because I knew I could beat it. And I think I manage it very well nowadays, to be honest. It's through being positive.
Yeah, that's A, good for you, and B, it's one of my favorite facts is you physically cannot be anxious and grateful at the same time. So choosing to be grateful and intentionally looking for things to be grateful for helps to fill your mind with those things, and actually literally prevents you from being anxious. So great bit of advice there. Last sort of follow-up question. This wouldn't be the No Have Cake podcast if we didn't talk about cake at least once. So I have to ask, what would your favorite type of cake be, and is there any type of core memory attached to it?
I think whether you'd call it a cake, I'm not sure. Well, it is a cake. It's cheesecake. But it's, I think my core memory, I suppose, is I'm a massive cheesecake fan. And I think is it's become a bit of a ritual in my family. So on Christmas Day, I'm the cheesecake king. I'm renowned around the world as the cheesecake king. So I like to think. But yeah, so I make cheesecake on Christmas Day here, and we now get a choice of either cheesecake or Christmas pudding. And over the years, the Christmas pudding has gone from being this big to it's got smaller because everyone loves the cheesecake. So every year, people look forward to what flavored cheesecake I'll be doing this Christmas. So yeah, it's definitely cheesecake.
That's awesome. Do you have any? Is there like flavors that you have favorites of?
Yeah, so it's usually Rolo cheesecakes. It's got like chocolate and caramel. Or we have Dime Bar cheesecake. That's pretty nice. So it's usually caramel themed, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's usually between those two, to be honest with people. Those tend to be my forte anyway.
I've never heard of Rolo cheesecake, but I will have to give it a look.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'll have to take a trip and we'll share a slice.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a plan. So listen, Gareth, I appreciate your time and vulnerability and being here and sharing a little bit about your life with us here today. Any last words you want to share?
No, I just really appreciate you having me on, and yeah, thank you so much. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. So with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope everyone who's listening goes out and enjoys theirs as well, and remembers to be grateful and spend your day being intentionally positive and do your best to kind of ward off those negative thoughts, because that positive thinking and the gratefulness and the gratitude will tremendously help you live a much better, happier, and more present life. And that's what I want for all of you here. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.